The best thing ever written by a pop musician about me and I playing these records, bought for it, and I'd be seeing very few of us. And Helen Weatherhead from the Six Music.
Radio Resistance.
So what? Radio Resistance.
It's a good record too, isn't it? Judy Clay and William Bell, Private Number. I guess it's not a public holiday yet, although surely that.
Alright, to set the scene, I'm here with my man David Blower, urban warrior, happens to live across the road to me. Happens. Shit happens. And I'm just being thrown a few of my initial podcasts over to Dave for supervision, for syncopation, and all them sinful things. The simple things. I don't know. Simply, how do we put this?
It's been put.
It's been put.
Yeah.
Shot put. It's like a great big shot put. I was crap at the shot put, mate. Were you? Discus was my thing.
We didn't do that, man.
Discus and javelin. Good for the long limbs. The long-limbed mans couldn't jump and throw.
Discus, you could do discus and javelin.
And the high jump. Yeah, but obviously, I didn't have to jump that high.
High jump, I could do high jump.
Frosby flop, nah. It was like I used to scissor kick and still win.
Gilbert step. Well, I mean, let's just be rigorously practical. So, what's the format going to be?
It's going to be whatever media comes to hand. The way this has come about is being I'm into my media, but I'm also into my visual and audio and life force inputs, wherever they are, so animals, telly, radio, things on people's clothing, wherever you are in the street. You can turn this on and off. You turn it on and look, and then you turn it off, take a breath and just go and do the shopping. So it's come about from just a natural, whatever seems the natural thing to do, which has led me to the place where I'm using a couple of apps on my telephone to multi-track. I found these two apps that happen to work together. Like, you put one on record, and you can play or whatever on the other and multi-track. Because I've been doing this to come up with ideas for songs for the Radio Resistance band.
So hang on a minute, you can record something on an app.
Yeah.
And then you play it in another app while recording
record it on the other.
On top of it.
And it so happens that the audio seems to just go on the phones, the mic and the speaker are right next to each other. So the music just loops through without feeding back. Sometimes, when you try this shit, you get the electronics howl in pain.
Yeah.
It's like, oh! But somehow these two get on. And the funny thing is, the one is like a standard, just funky looking, old school tape deck app looking app thing. And the other is a circle on a blue square with a speaker in the circle, and then it's called MSTR.
Sure.
But for me, it tripped me out because I used to jumble up the letters for things, capitals, put things in capitals in the wrong place, jumble things up, and I was like M-Stork. MSTORK, and then I find this app MSTR, and it's got synergy with the other app, and it tripped me out because it's like M-Stork, MSTR.
Well, I just assume it stood for Michael Stork tape recording.
Fuck. Well, he does. I think I should look in the manual. I never read the manual.
Oh, he does. All right,
I don't read manuals, mate.
Are you going to confine yourself to this as your
Oh, right. No, well,
technology?
no, that's a good question, because I've been thinking today about the kitchen recordings and the ambience. Ollie, who's been teaching me all things somewhat about sound, came round the other day and started just drumming. He's drumming on the banisters, he's drumming on the doors, drumming on everything. Just like, wow, this house is musical. He's like, he's like me, yeah. So he is also bouncing off of everything, stimulating his life, every sense possible. So he's drumming on the door saying, listen to the sub bass, Mike. It's like, listen to the sub bass. Like, there's some, if you try it, like in a hallway, just drum on a door and listen for the real deep frequency. Ooh, there's a deep frequency. That's the way the sub bass energy lurks.
Find them in the corners.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bass traps in the corners.
So he says your kitchen mic, something in the acoustics in the kitchen is like, mate, we need to do some recording in here. You know, so there was a message which I listened to. But more recently I was thinking maybe I should hook up a little mixer, a microphone, plug the radio through the mixer to get better playback clarity from the radio. And then, but the thing is, I do this ambient sound in the room thing, which I like, which just puts you in the right place of the room, whatever sounds right for the mix in your ears.
Yeah.
So I'd also like to maintain that and do some musical projection, but you know, is it all too much? Do I just need to bow down to the scruffy nature of it and just let it be?
Well, you just start on the road that's in front of you, don't you?
Exactly, yeah, let's see where it leads you, I suppose. What do you think? David's just getting the front door. Maybe you could post your thoughts somehow to me and let me know what you think. Should I just do it or not? The path of electronic perfection or resist? Telephone entry, there's a prize for the person that can read my mind most accurately. I don't know what yet, some sort of prize.
I'll leave the
A
room
winner,
for
a
like
winner badge.
30 seconds and you're having like a mystical experience.
With whoever is listening.
Of course,
The
of course.
listeners, you know, don't forget the listeners.
They're still in the room.
They're patiently listening. I'm looking at spinning dials and they're looking at speakers, wondering what the fuck's happening to their heads.
I wonder if the world's gonna change its metaphors from visual to oral in days to come, because we still say "I see," and we still say, you know, what are the people on the other end seeing, and what, you know, we still talk about vision
As a symbol of clarity of
a symbol of
thinking
clarity.
and
Yeah.
mind and heart and being.
But Marshall McLuhan says that we're moving out of being a visual culture, the culture of the eye, to becoming a culture of the ear. And that's what the electronic age does.
And that gets you there faster,
Gets you way faster.
wherever Mr. McLuhan's going.
Yeah, I guess.
Because isn't he about something? He's about speed, isn't he? There's a reflection of speed in his thinking. The light speed of electronics, you know, like the instant light speed,
Right, yeah.
connectivity.
Yeah. The electronic age does that. Reduces time
Yeah.
and space.
On that subject, I could diverge. You know that thing about light, looking at stars, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm just looking back in time.
No, I can't remember.
Oh,
Because stars
because they're so far away,
yeah, right.
and it takes the light like a long time,
Yeah.
years, hundreds of years, thousands of years, millions of light years. Like the light that you're looking at, I mean, it wasn't in your lifetime.
No.
That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
But it's all relative, because we're like judging this time thing by our perspective.
Mhm.
But if you take the perspective of the star,
Uh-huh.
that shit gets there instantly
Does it?
because light travels at the speed of light. It's this whole thing about faster than the speed of light and Star Trek. It isn't quite right. it's a useful device to make an unpassable universe passable or measurable.
Mhm.
But it's just a device, a way of thinking. But because actually, the energy that is in this light is a wave, and it's substance as well. It can affect matter. The photon energy is both a wave of light and represents the behavior of matter, which makes light very unique. And this is proved in science and is the very foundation of a lot of the technology we use, right? Like LEDs and shit. Anyway, the idea is that actually, yeah, it does travel. I mean, time alters when you're moving faster, yeah, and it's relative to the person. So the idea is that basically, in a nutshell, light is not just traveling, it's traveling through time. Light is time traveling. So for the perspective of the particle, it gets there instantly, no matter whatever distance. But from our perspective, it takes a long time because it's far, far away. And some of the universe a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Right. And those are two mystical sides of something. I don't know if anybody out there can understand me. If you are listening at home. But yeah, I was like, oh wow, man. Time travel. It's actually more sort of a dependency of how this universe works, rather than something that we aspire to achieve. We're doing it. We're doing it every time we fall asleep and wake up. Can you remember the last time you fell asleep?
I used to try and remember that every time I woke up in the morning as a kid, and I never could remember it. I never remember the moment I fell asleep. But I know I must have done it.
It is
when
a
I woke
vanishing
up.
point. It's a vanishing point. It's another vanishing point. The moment you fall asleep, it's like a vanishing point. You can't see it. It's like infinite. You're trying to see. All you can see is the point on the horizon where the lines converge. But in your head, you know that it goes on forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
Such is that instant when you fall asleep. It is a vanishing point, and then the next thing you know, you've had a mystical experience, and then you've woken up.
Further practical questions, Michael.
Sorry, a bit of a divergence.
No, that was the feature. These are diversions. Are you going to are you going to have some kind of rhythm and regularity to time and so on with these things? Are you going to put them out like once a month? Once
No,
a 2 weeks,
I
once a
can't
week?
do it because then I'd be saying I'm in control.
just comes out when it comes out.
It's got to be the feeling. So sometimes the feeling might be prolific. At other times it might be starvation.
Yeah. That's very liberating to hold that approach from the start, isn't it?
Yeah, because it also means I don't have to deal with when you're doing it next.
Yeah. When I like.
When I like, mate. Well, when I feel like it.
And how much post-production editing? Are you just gonna glue thematically linked things together? Are you gonna go and collect bits and pieces, or does each one of these recordings that you're making are they just gonna go up as standalone pieces? Like just it's like almost like
Don't know.
audio Instagramming your
I've
life.
had a bit of both so far. I've had I've had one that I thought I need some post-production on because it was so terrible sounding. Although I played it to Ollie, and he actually was like, no, he really enjoyed the way that the audio randomly hits you in the face. Like the punch of the dynamics is all wrong, but maybe that helps. That particular one, that made me think, oh, maybe not post-production. Maybe some improvement to the original audio capturing, but I don't want to disturb the chi yet, you know?
No. But what about like even
But
on the level
gluing
of just
I did a couple
slicing bits
of
together?
parts that I did stick together. I got a 45-minute one I did the other night for my girl that's staying in my house, you know, not a flatmate. We're letting out a room, we are.
Lodger?
There you go.
Yeah.
She's lodging. And she was into it. Wow. Cosmic.
Perfect.
Let's just see. At this point, this would be a moment where you would stop. Ting. In the Buddhist way, it's the bell hitting moment, you know, the transition of scenes. Something cosmic happens, and then you resound a frequency, and you just stew on it till you feel like scratching your ass or whatever it is that happens next.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of this thing, is being led to know when to start and stop. It reflects in all ways of life. When you walk down the street, are you in a rush all the time, Holmes? The fucks is going on? Maybe that 10 seconds to stop and look at a flower, or pick up that thing on the floor, is going to be that 10 seconds that puts you in the right place at the right time.
Talking to the mayor and his two
Yeah.
assistants.
I have a theory. This is one reason that people listen to podcasts, is because, I mean, obviously it depends on the podcast, but I think it slows people down. Partly because we're coming out of such an eye-heavy culture, and people still spend so much time taking in information visually, brands, places to go, things to do, scrolling. But then
Browsing.
browsing, that's life, isn't it? But then people put in their headphones and they listen to a podcast, and it, the sense ratio, as McClellan put it, goes to the ears, and it's just like, I don't know, it's like going underwater or something, do you know what I mean? There's this relief to the eyeballs.
Submission. You are forced to submit to something.
Forced to submit to a slower...
It's a bit like that barge holiday, that barge narrowboat, you know? Narrowboat holidays. You've been on a narrowboat.
I've never been on
Oh,
narrowboat holiday.
well, it does exactly that. Because there's a speed limit and it's crawling, mate. You can walk faster. But hey, you know, you are moving this big object, gathering quite a lot of momentum. Yeah, actually, even though it's going slow.
Yeah, right.
So, interesting images.
Yeah.
But yeah, it changes the pace of your adventure.
I knew a guy who was living on a houseboat. He and his wife, they were living on a houseboat in Birmingham, and he was telling me it takes them 3 days to get to Stratford.
Talking to the mayor
Which,
and his two assistants.
3 days, mate.
yeah, that's
It's pretty good going, actually, I think.
takes 45 minutes on train.
Oh, well. There's always a faster boat. There's always a faster car. There's always some better petrol.
Frivolous questions, Michael. Are you going to have like kind of theme music that you use every time?
Nah, probably not.
Just dive in.
Maybe. I did make a little sting this morning.
Yeah.
Funk it up, could play at you. So I was thinking, I could join that to the beginning or something, or could start to slot things together. Sometimes it's a pause that the listener doesn't want to listen to because the radio is playing some shit that doesn't fit. You know? Pause.
Pause. I mean, a frame can be a beautiful thing. Just framing it and saying you're entering the zone that this podcast takes you into.
Ah,
Do you know
a
what I
bit
mean? There's
like
that-
Tales from the Unexpected. Anything can happen in the next 30 seconds.
Yeah,
Stingray.
that's right. Just puts people in the zone.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like the
SIG made.
it's like the Buddhist thing. You know, it's that
There's a man.
oral symbol that puts people in the place.
Well, there is this extra element. The flow of the honeybee, which is the flow of the lyrical lyricist in me. So he pops out and creates a natural break of a sort,
Oh yeah. Well,
which is the vocal adventure part. Maybe that's a thing, but you could sort of start with something like that, or I don't know.
well, the material's going to have a consistent quality because it's going to come out of your sort of
Journey.
fanciful meanderings, isn't it? So yeah.
Like what happened today.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably something pretty mystic. Yeah.
One day there's a man.
Bit arrogant, but it could, sometimes you just need a break.
Talking
and
to the
watch
mayor
some
and
Han
his
Solo
two
film.
assistants.
Some days are mystic and some days are
Cut.
Disney Star Wars franchise days.
Which day is it today?
Well, obviously it's a Disney Star Wars franchise day today.
It's turned pretty mystic right now, though.
Because you came to my house.
Yeah.
Talking to the mayor
High ceilings,
and his two assistants.
high hopes.
Cut.
I hope.
Snap.
Bluebird. Is that Bluebird? No.
Blue tit.
Blue tit.
Yeah.
Blue tits. Don't forget the blue tits.
Yes.
Blue vagina.